Hello, my name is Lorraine McNulty and you're listening to Just a Digital Moment. I'd like to welcome you and thank you for taking the time to listen to me today. Just a Digital Moment is a podcast about all things digital. That covers quite a wide area, I know, but we're going to be concentrating on anything digital that affects small businesses and entrepreneurs. So we'll be looking at a range of topics, anything from web design, marketing, social media, search engine optimization, apps, and even gadgets. Anything that will make life easier for you and your business. I'll throw in some video from time to time as well, so make sure you keep an eye on justadigitalmoment.com to keep up to date. Okay, so that's enough of the intro. Let's get on with the episode. Episode 2. Why your website needs to be secured with HTTPS and what you need to do about it. This episode was prompted by an email I got this morning from one of my clients who was just asking my advice about SSL certificates, as he was getting emails and phone calls from GoDaddy who were trying to sell him a $500 SSL certificate. So I just thought I'd record this podcast episode just to try and explain a little bit about HTTPS and SSL certificates. So when Google talks, we listen. We kind of have to. No one wants the wrath of Google falling on their website. And last year, Google started to officially warn website owners with sites that didn't display the green padlock, showing they were non-HTTPS, that they would be declared as non-secure. What does that mean exactly? Well, it means that when viewed in the new Chrome 68 browser, it will actually show an exclamation mark and say not secure. Sometimes it will show a warning saying your connection to this site is not secure. You should not enter any sensitive information on this site, for example, passwords or credit cards, because it could be stolen by attackers. Quite the warning there. So what's the big deal? Let's face it, HTTP is really old as far as tech goes. It's worked fine for a long time, but it's just not secure. That means when you visit a website that's over HTTP, your connection is not secure, and those nasty people out there can grab the data that is passed back and forth on the connection. Simply put, they can steal your credit card details, your name, your email address, or any personal information that you enter into that website by form or an opt-in or anything like that, or a purchase. On the other hand, HTTPS is secure, and any data sent over the secure connection is encrypted, so it can't be stolen. Well, technically it can still be stolen, but it's worthless to the people stealing it, as it's gobbledygook basically, without the encryption key. Now, Google has stated that HTTPS adopters will gain a rankings boost, and that's prompted a big shift towards HTTPS. In fact, according to a recent blog post by Google, over 68% of Chrome traffic on both Android and Windows is now protected, and over 78% of Chrome traffic on both Chrome OS and Mac is now protected, and 81 of the top 100 sites on the web use HTTPS by default. So Google, being Google, won't come out and say that being non-secure will affect your rankings. They hold their beloved search algorithm close to their heart, if Google has a heart. But in truth, a visitor to a site that displays a big red not secure warning is likely to be put off, and the site's traffic and rankings and your sales will drop as a result. Nobody wants to visit a page with a big red warning slapped over it saying, don't visit here, your data could be stolen by attackers. And whilst you might not be a Google Chrome user yourself, it is still the most used web browser on the planet. So there's a fair chance a large percentage of your customers will be using Chrome. And incidentally, anyone that accepts payments on their site should already be using HTTPS, as most payment providers such as Stripe and PayPal Pro and Authorized Net actually require you for your site to be protected. So how do you actually go about securing your site? In order to get that padlock secure notice, your site needs an SSL certificate. The SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer, if you're interested. So what is that exactly? It's a security certificate that once installed on the hosting web server, fires up a secure connection between the web server serving the content and the browser of the viewer viewing the site. the URL of the website will show as HTTPS rather than HTTP. For web users, this is a good thing. Anything that cuts down on cybercrime and data breaches should be embraced wholeheartedly. If you've gone through the issues of having your data stolen, you'll know this firsthand. You know what a pain in the butt it is. So there are 5 types of SSL certificates that you can use for your website. Some of them free, some are paid. As you'd expect, the paid ones come with a few more features than the free ones. So let's just have a quick rundown of the different types that you can get. Start with the free SSL certificates. There are vendors such as Let's Encrypt, Free SSL and SSL for Free that all provide free SSL certificates, along with many web hosts. These certificates work well but have some preconditions, such as having to manually renew the certificate every 6 months. Our preferred hosting company, SiteGround, offers a free SSL certificate. They use the Let's Encrypt one. Second type is the single domain SSL certificate. Much like it says, these certificates work on one domain only. So, for example, if the certificate is issued for yourdomain.com, it will only secure the pages under that one domain. These certificates are fairly easy to obtain, requiring little or no paperwork, as well as being fairly low cost. Next one is multi-domain SSL certificate. This type, as it says, allows you to secure a few different domains with one certificate. So, for example, website1.com, website2.com and website3.com could all be secured with the same certificate. Next, we have Wildcard SSL certificates. These are very similar to the single domain certificate, but it will also secure any subdomains. So, for example, you can secure yourdomain.com as well as support.yourdomain.com or anything.yourdomain.com. It's perfect if you have multiple subdomains. It gives you just the one expiry date to remember, and it's also worth noting that many hosts also offer a Let's Encrypt free wildcard SSL certificate now, which works really well for subdomains. Next type we have is the organisational SSL certificate. This type offers some enhanced features, but you have to be vetted and verified before being issued with the certificate, so it can take a bit longer for it to be processed, something like 3 working days. The last type is the extended SSL certificate, and these certificates offer the highest level of security and can take anything like 3 to 4 days to be issued. They involve a thorough background check on the company that's applying for them. And because of their highest level of security, they're often used by banks and many online retailers. The type of SSL certificate that you need depends a lot on the type of website that you have, but the free certificates are a good place to start for most small businesses. And because they're free, there's really no excuse in not getting one. Okay, great. So you have your SSL certificate. Now what do you do with it? Once you've decided on and obtained your SSL certificate, you need to migrate your website from HTTP to HTTPS. Depending on the size and complexity of your website, this can either be a relatively painless task or a major undertaking. So once you've purchased and installed your SSL certificate on your hosting, you can migrate your WordPress website with the use of the really simple SSL plugin, and I'll drop a link to that below the show notes. This plugin takes care of everything, including any mixed content errors for non-secure content. What it does in the background is it checks the SSL certificate to make sure it's a valid one. It sets WordPress to use HTTPS in the URLs. It sets up redirects from HTTP to HTTPS, and it looks for URLs in your content that are still loading from non-secure HTTP sources and attempts to fix them. Things like links to images or links to other sites that are referencing HTTP rather than HTTPS. Occasionally you may have a problem with this, in which case there are other plugins you can use to rectify this problem. If you get to that state, then you're kind of getting to the major undertaking rather than the relatively painless task of migrating your site. And needless to say, if you feel that you can't tackle this migration yourself, you can get the help of a WordPress professional. There's lots of them out there that can help you, including myself. So, in summary, it may all seem like a bit of an inconvenience, and it actually may cost you some money to comply to the regulations and the new requirements. But these requirements put in force by Google are important, and for the good of the internet and for the good of your business. The SSL certificate does a few things. It establishes trust in your business and builds your brand online. It provides encryption of your sensitive data to avoid people stealing it, and it provides authentication for your site and business. So if you haven't made the switch to HTTPS yet, then you should get cracking. I think the deadline date is something like July the 24th, so it's coming up soon, so it's something you definitely need to be looking into. Otherwise, if you don't, you can expect the wrath of Google to fall upon you, and you'll no doubt see a drop in your search rankings. You'll see less traffic and lost sales as a result. Good rule of thumb to live by is always best to keep on the good side of Google. So I hope that's demystified HTTPS and SSL certificates a little bit for you and helped you to understand what they are, why you need them, and what you need to do about it. Thank you for listening today. I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. If you want to get in touch with me with any feedback or suggestions for things to discuss, please do. I'd love to hear from you. You can use the contact form on the website, or you can email me at info@justadigitalmoment.com. And for more information on any of the topics that we've discussed on the podcast, you can visit my website at maplemoonwebdesign.com or also at theweekendwebsite.com. And once again, cheers for listening and have a great day.